What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Homebrew Subaru. In this episode, I'm going to show you another car that I ended up buying. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry I keep on lying to you on the phone, but I did buy another car. I've needed a replacement for my wagon for quite a while. The body of my Impreza wagon is rotting away. When I bought the car, I basically bought it off a farm, and the car had a lot of body rot when I bought it. And over the years, which has been like, it's just about 6 years now that I've owned that car. I've kind of repaired the body around the rear wheel wells quite a bit, but literally the rest of it is still rotting away. The rocker panels are rotting open. The rear bumper support, like the actual bumper that would hold the bumper cover, it's like rotted so bad. All the body around where that area is underneath the rear bumper, it's heavily rotted. And then when you get to the rear doors, underneath the door area, next to the seat, there's holes going through there now. The car's done, and I've known this for quite some time. It's just I've been waiting for something to pop up. There was 2 cars in town that I was really interested in. One was a 2007 Impreza wagon in silver. It was 5-speed. It's a car that I've worked on here before. She just keeps that car clean, and it was relatively low mileage. But I knew the last time I drove it, I could tell the clutch was getting pretty weak in it, and I mentioned to her if she was interested in selling it, that I'd be interested in buying it. But there was also another car that I remember seeing that I thought I'd like to get my hands on, just because the cars that stay here stay rather clean, and I know the parts on my car were swapping to another vehicle, so that's what I completely had in mind. But I'll open up the door and we'll see what I have outside. So as you can see, it's a 2005 Impreza RS. It's a 5-speed. It has relatively low Ks on it, so we're talking about 147,000 kilometers, which off the top of my head is like, I don't know, maybe 85,000 miles, something like that. The body is very clean, other than like superficial stuff on the paint. So there is lots of rock chips everywhere on the hood. But I've already found the touch-up paint color online, and I'll just end up ordering that to fill those in. And I'll have to probably get like a polisher to try and bring up the paint, because I know the paint, it just really needs a good polish more than anything. It came with a set of winter wheels, so just 16-inch steel rims with some Nokian Nordman 7s on it. They are a really good winter tire, and they're in relatively good shape. I mean, I'm going to end up reusing them, but I don't think I'm going to use them on this car, because I have another set of winter tires to use. It did come with the factory wheels. Just let me get it open here. So it did come with the wheels that came on the 05 RS, which are known as WRX wheels, that commonly used on WRX from 02 to 04, I believe. I do have a set of these wheels already with the winter tires already mounted, and I'll be swapping those onto this car, and then setting these aside for now. And they have Goodyear Assurance tires that are pretty good shape on it. It did come with Thule roof rack, which I do have the keys for. The car was a single owner, and she took extremely good care of the car, obviously. There's no real bangs or accident kind of things, and the body's relatively clean. I kind of think the rear has been painted, because I almost see something going on with the trunk. And then down in here, it looks like there's a second layer of paint maybe starting to peel up at the top of the bumper here. But these rear quarters are really good shape. The underside of the car is in pretty good shape. The trunk lid's obviously got some scratches in it, which I'll try and get those out somehow and give it a good buff. The same with the rear bumper. It's just lost a lot of its color, and some good polishing. I should be able to get some of it to come out, I think. The car is certainly worth painting, but I probably won't do that for quite some time. The camera will pick this up, but there is some kind of little dent here, which I may be able to get that to roll out with my PDR kit. I might attempt it. The interior of the car, she kept relatively clean. I mean, I've seen cars in a lot worse shape, and she gave it to me this way. She didn't really expect to sell the car. I kind of jumped on it really fast. So, but I mean, nothing looks to be broken. The driver's seat does have a little tear in it, but I may actually swap the GC STI seats into this car. They'll sit a little lower. They are aged a bit, but I've got an idea to kind of redden up the color in them and maybe put them into this car and then hold on to these for something else, or I'm not sure. The ceiling's got some staining to it, but I should be able to wash most of that out. Overall, I'm really pleased with the condition of the car. So there was some notable differences in 05, and there's going to have to be some changes that I make in order to get that turbo engine that I've got in the other car to run in this car, because that is the idea. I'm not so sure how many times it overheated on her, but eventually she brought it in to have it looked at. The coolant was found low. One of the guys went through it, and he found number 2. So to be over on this side's head gasket is actually dripping coolant out of the head gasket. So it's a very slow leak, but it's to the point where it's going to cause a problem eventually. And I kind of worry that the heads might even have been warped because it has been overheated a little bit. I'm not sure how bad it is, and I haven't even pulled the cap yet to see how much coolant's in it still. It might just be like a get hot type thing and then it starts to leak. I'm not quite sure. But in 05, they went to drive-by-wire. So now we have an electronic throttle, and there's no throttle cable directly from the pedal up to the throttle body anymore. And there's a couple little differences in the head design a little bit, and I believe the pistons as well. They raised compression again. So literally I'm probably going to have to take this intake manifold and swap it over onto the other engine. And then, because it is drive-by-wire, it has the later ECU in it, which is programmable with open source. So if I get a cable, then I should be able to try and start doing some programming with ROM Raider. It's stuff I've read about in the past quite a bit, but I've never had any experience with it, and it's going to be a lot of learning. But to get the engine in the car and make it run, to bolt on the intake and get it to start, that's not going to be a problem. It's when it gets into boost, there will be an issue, and I'll have ECU shut down the injectors and stuff and have fuel cut if I do that. This also is a mass airflow sensor. There is a map sensor on this thing, and I kind of believe that it might be possible just to use the map. They may just be using this for a barometric reading, and then more importantly, it is running off of mass airflow. So that's a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to really think about when I do this, when I swap the other engine into this car. So I've already got what I think this car should look like and the way I want it to perform. I'm not going to go overboard with appearance or anything like that. I'd rather have it look a little bit, not so sleeper, but just like a regular NA Impreza that someone put wheels on or something, right? But I do plan, I might actually get a different grill, something without the symbol, and then maybe get a little RS kind of deal over here. Might even be able to cut this out and do it myself. It's an idea. The headlights are obviously hazed over really bad, so I'm going to do a complete job on the headlights. I'll plan to put them in the oven and actually take the lens off. I want to probably take out the amber pieces in behind and black them out, clean up the lenses and put them all back together. Get some fogs for down here, which I think I found on eBay already. And then even up in here in the front, I don't know how much more I'm going to move around like I did in the last car, like on the wagon, the batteries in the back, the washer bottles in the back. The ABS was deleted, so there's a lot of stuff I can pull off the other car to work on this one, and I'm just not really sure exactly how much I'm actually going to take off and swap. But now I'm starting to have the idea that put this car on the road in November when the insurance comes off that other one, or switch it over in November some point. I'll have the winter wheels on this one. I can just watch the coolant, make sure I'm not driving it too far, and make sure I watch the temperature. Start driving this one, hopefully get the 240 at least running by then, so I can pull it out, pull the wagon in, and start yanking some parts off of it over the winter. Ideally, that's how it'll work out. These seats are still in pretty decent shape. I mean, they look a little rough in some of the coloring. Definitely these are pink, pretty pink in color now. But the seats I may actually put in the other car. Relatively, this interior is not too bad. I did do a lot of, constant cleaning and little upgrades. The gauges will come out, but I'm not sure if they're going to actually go into the other car. A bunch of other stuff like the wideband will obviously come out, and there'll be other things like that white gauge cluster. I might end up selling that. But for the most part, I mean, this car is just done. Pull the stereo out of it and the speakers, and then we'll go for the drivetrain. But the clear coat's all peeling and the plastic dip's faded like really bad. It's actually coming off of my fingers. The windshield's cracked again. But we'll yank this out. So I'll end up yanking this thing out and putting it in the other one. I might, not do the green intake manifold this time, I guess. I don't know. But obviously, I had this catch can filled, and I wasn't really bypassing, a lot of stuff coming out of the crankcase. And I've had some blow-by coming out of the vents, and you can see it's built up here. It's building up grease on the turbo inlet, and over on this side as well. It's nothing like serious. I'm not too concerned. I mean, this thing's as modified as homebrew modified as it can be. So we're gonna have to clean up a few things before it goes into the other car, I guess. And then because I won't need some of this mechanical stuff to tune it anymore, possibly, like maybe the washer bottle will actually stay in the front, and then I may pull out most of these lines so that I can just kind of redo the ABS. And then I'm pretty sure that I'm going to end up using this radiator in the other car as well. I realize the hose does come up a little bit differently, like it doesn't sweep across the front here over to the center, but there's no reason I shouldn't be able to use this rad in the other car. I don't think it's built any bit higher, so it'll be coming out as well. The transmission will come out, the rear diff will come out. They're the same ratio that's in the car. And then some other stuff like the lights and maybe the fogs and stuff, I'll kind of gather together and then just kind of put it together as a package to sell it online to somebody. The wheels will come off, and the brake calipers, I'm pretty sure that they may actually be the same ones on this car. I haven't checked any of the part numbers yet, but I think they're the same, and pretty confident the rears are identical, so I'll pull those calipers because I replaced all the calipers at just a couple years ago, and that one is actually brand new. I just put it on. In the rear, I'll probably try and get the replica spoiler off and the Outback spoiler, the taillights, and kind of put that together and sell that as all three pieces together if I can. And then pretty much other than that, yanking the whole exhaust off of it, it will just go for scrap. So I think all I'm going to do right now is take the winter wheels that I have, like the WRX wheels with the winter tires that I have. I'm going to put them on that car so that in a month from now when I go to drive it, I won't have to swap the wheels. Plus I'll get a good look at the brakes now just to see if I'm going to have to buy a set of pads and whip them on for the winter kind of thing. And then I'll probably just come back and finish up the video after that. Okay, so I've got my winter wheels that I usually use on my wagon. I've got them on the newer car now. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like, I mean, that's the way it came. So it's nothing too elaborate. And I kind of debate if I could lower the front like an inch, maybe I will. I do have like 5mm spacers on the other car, but I think when I go to put the other wheels on this car, I'll probably end up putting some wheel spacers to bring out the wheels quite a bit. I'll get some Rally Armor mud flaps. And look at this, I just noticed there's a little crack. Started right there. That's not good. Because it looks like there's a little bit of color in it. I might try and have to fill it in. Because that's going to chip away at some point. But anyways, there's lots of little stuff like that that I've actually ended up noticing. I thought this was basically dirt on the bottom of the car, but those are all rock chips. So eventually the car will probably get paint. It's definitely probably worth painting to me. You know, it's a Subaru Impreza. It's nothing absolutely fantastically spectacular, but to me, with all the parts that I have and being a Subaru guy, I know I can make this car last for years and years and have a lot of fun with it every year. This will be the daily. The 240 will be more of a toy, and then I've got something kind of like a trail running thing for the Forester planned, but that's a long time from now. So there is lots of little superficial things on the car. I'm not worried about it at all. I think that the deal that we made on the car, I didn't even go look at it. I just basically made her an offer. She made me come up a little bit, and we made the deal at that. I think we both made out really well. She got rid of a car she didn't need anymore, and I got something I kind of wanted. So I plan on probably drive it over the winter, and then start stripping the parts off the other car over the winter time. And then as we get into the spring, hopefully I've got this thing kind of running, or I'll get the Forester at least on the road so I can use it. And then while I'm switching over parts, installing onto the red one, at least I won't have to have it insured and on the road. So first I'll go in and go get the engine in it and get that hopefully sorted out before summer, and then I'll kind of plan an appearance package. I've got to think about suspension on the car because it is original. I can't wait to get a jump on it and like spend some time on it and, you know, make it into what I want. And I think you guys are gonna enjoy watching a lot of it anyway. But realistically, everything from like, you know, suspension to wheel spacers, to the little cosmetic things that I might want on the car, like mud flaps and whatever, that stuff's it all piles up, and it's not stuff I need right now and right away anyway, so I'll just kind of leave it off for later. And it's going to make an awesome daily car, and it'll last for years because I've got tons of extra parts for it. Essentially, I've got 2 extra NA engines now. Like, I've got one in the Legacy, and the one that'll come out of it, I'll end up probably repairing that and holding it to the side. So I'll have extra engines for both the Impreza and the Forester. This is going to kind of be my lineup in the future. So I am going away next week, and I do have another little video planned up, and I'll probably try and post it next weekend, or yeah, maybe next weekend, hopefully. It's just a another little thing's arrived for the 240, and I kind of want to do not necessarily an unboxing, but a review of some of these parts that are going to end up going on the car. And then, so I'll film that. You guys will get to watch it while I'm away. Then we might have to miss like a week or something, I don't know. But then when I get back, I'll basically be jumping right back onto this thing and start trying to fit some of the parts that have to go on to make it run. But until then, if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and you haven't already, please consider to hit that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below. And I'll see you in the next one.